Hello YouTube, Canadian Edge here, and it is time for a knife review. And the knife I'm going to be looking at today, and hope you enjoy. This is the Civivi Vision FG, and this is kind of an interesting knife. This is one of those knives that first few times I saw it, I'm like, yeah, no, that's not working for me. I really don't care for that knife, what they've done with it. No, it's not something I'd like. But the more I saw it and handled it a couple times in the store, I'm like, oh, this is starting to win me over a little bit. And then yeah, I started to like it more, and so I ended up getting one, and I really enjoy it now. I'm glad I was able to get one. So the details, you don't want to know the history, you just want to know the details. This has a blade length of 3.54 inches. Open, it is 7.95 inches, and closed 4.45 inches. It is a Damascus steel on there, and if I can get my lighting right so you can see the pattern. And I thought that was kind of interesting. Civivi is doing some interesting patterns on their Damascus, and not just your typical patterns. So I like what they've done with this. It's a good look. It is a reverse Tanto style blade. The weight of it is 4.35 ounces, so a little more weight to it than some knives, but if you're a person that likes a little weight to the knives, that's not a big deal. The handle, it is an ivory G10, and they have skeletonized it. This stainless steel liners underneath, and so yeah, they've skeletonized it to make it a little bit lighter, and so that's always helpful, and it gives you a little more grip as well. So, and just in terms of looks, it looks good. But the pocket clip on this, it is a reversible pocket clip. So right hand, left hand, tip up, tip down, makes this an ambidextrous knife. You got the dual thumb studs for opening it up, and you can also use the locking system. They call this the super lock, and it allows you to flick the knife open and close as well, and as well as doing the dual thumb studs. So yeah, it has caged ceramic ball bearings, and I don't know if you'd call that a choil. It's more of a sharpening choil, but if you're careful, you can grip up more for doing controlled cuts. So yeah, it's kind of a combination of finger choil or more of a sharpening choil, I think, because it's not super comfortable, and if you're not careful, you do hit the edge of the blade, so you got to watch that. The locking system on this, you pretty much have to take it apart, but this just lifts up. You don't have to lift it to open it, but there's a spot on the blade where it fits in and holds the blade firm. You can hear the click, and you just lift it up to release the blade. So just a little different lock system that makes it easy for right or left hand to use, because it's right back here. So you're just using your finger to unlock that. So I like it. I like what they've done with it. Apparently the first ones that they came out with, they had some issues with the locking system working properly, but they've improved that, and so now it works very well. It is centered, and there is no blade play back and forth, up and down. It sits in there nice and solid, not going anywhere. And so always like that in my knives. And It's not often that you get a lot of, or get blade play in your knives, but you don't want it at all. So let's do some size comparisons here. We have the Ontario Rat 2, and you can see a little bit bigger. Got the Benchmade bug out, and again, it's got a little bit of size on those two knives. And we'll grab a couple other ones here. We have the Sencut Saxy, and you can see they're pretty close to the same. And we got the Civivi Cogent, and again, pretty much the same size. So it's a good size knife. If you're liking bigger knives, this might be one that is interesting to you. Sharpness, it comes nice and sharp, and Damascus steel sharpens fairly easily. You don't have to hurt yourself to sharpen it. How about the zip tie? We'll see how it does with the good old zip tie. And I haven't done a lot of, well, it cuts through that pretty easy. And we'll do the nylon cord. Cuts through that, no problem. So good sharp edge on the blade there. And I haven't been too abusive to this blade. This is more in my gentleman's knife category, so it's not one that I use and abuse. It's one that I'm going to be a little more nicer with, although you don't have to be. I'm pretty sure this will hold up and do quite well. If you're a person who likes to get good hard use out of your knives, I'm sure you could use this one for everyday jobs that you would use, like the Rat or that for. So anyway, what I liked about this, eventually I liked the aesthetics on it. I've come to really like the look of it. In a way, it kind of has the feel, if you're familiar with the Spyderco smock, it reminds me slightly of that. It's kind of a similar feel to it. But yeah, I liked the aesthetics. I'm not a huge fan of like having the ivory handles because number one, I have oily hands, and so over time this is going to darken because of the oils on my hands, which is one of the reasons I'm not a fan of the ivory. But I really liked the way the ivory looked with this knife. It just gave it a nice look, I thought. And a little bit of a wow factor to it with the Damascus and then the darker edge down here and the white. It all made a nice contrast that I thought worked quite well. So so yeah, that's why I ended up with the ivory handle. The ergonomics on it are good. Yeah, you've got good hold on it, good control on it. I'm a guy, I like the jimping, so I would have preferred some jimping on the blade because I often have my thumb here, and again with the oily fingers and that, it does slide. So I would have preferred some jimping. You do have jimping on the lock here, but I don't tend to hold that far back on my knife. When I'm holding my knife, I'm more up here, so I've got full grip on it. So I would have liked to seen a little more jimping in that area, but not the end of the world. Ergonomically, like I say, it feels good in the hand. If you do this little choke up, you can get good grip for, if you are using this as a camp knife or making dinner or whatever it is. It just gives you that little more control. And so yes, ergonomically it works well. You've got good grip because you've got the textured G10 there. I don't know know if you can see, probably not, but it does have the texture there, so it gives you the grip. Plus those holes in the handle, they tend to give you grip. You find, or at least I do, I find that I got fingers on the holes there to give you that extra purchase. So like what they've done with the handle, it allows you to hang on to this knife with no problems. In the pocket, it's a nice slim design, so it does fit the pocket quite well. You do have a little bit of thickness in this area, but nothing crazy. I've carried this quite a bit. Actually, I've enjoyed carrying this, and it's got fit well into the pocket, so like that. Pivot on it, nice and smooth. Had no issues with the pivot. Right out of the box, it was nice and smooth. But I found that with Civivi knives that the pivots on them seem to be very good. I had no issues with any of my knives being hard to open or that. I haven't had any of that. They've all worked quite well. I do put pivot lubrication on just because I like them to be smooth, so works out well there. And I like the lock system on there. It's kind of like a crossbar lock in the, well, no, it's not like a crossbar lock. It just allows you to keep your fingers out of the way of the blade when you're closing it. And ambidextrous lefties, you probably like it because you can use it and you're not reaching for it anywhere. It's right there. So yes, I like the lock design, what they've done with it. It works quite well. And I'm very happy. Look at this. They made it flush, the pocket clip flush. So reduces wear and tear. Your only wear and tear is at this point. And so both sides, lefties too. Yeah, they sunk the pocket clip, which is nice. I appreciate when they do that kind of stuff. And then the fit and finish on this is all very nice. Everything lines up well. There's no sharp edges anywhere. It's very well done. Fit and finish. My only complaints on this knife, the one I already told you, I prefer the jimping up here just because it gives you that extra purchase. Yeah, you can learn to put your thumb back here, but I would have liked it a little bit on the blade. And yeah, just prefer that. So, and one of the things, it's not a real issue because you can get it if you come more from the bottom, but if you try and come from the side to get to the thumb studs, I would have preferred a little bevel maybe in this area just to make access to the thumb studs a lot easier. But you do come from the bottom on this and push up. I like what they did with the thumb studs. I don't know if you can see those. They're nice rounded thumb studs. Yeah, it's not really showing, but the thumb studs they have a nice rounded top, so a lot easier on the fingers. But yeah, it's just a personal preference, I guess. If they had a little bit of bevel there, just to make easier access to the thumb studs, that would have made me a little happier. But you can get it, no problem, and get the knife open. So yes, it does work. And this would be a knife, again, for me, this would be more my gentleman's knife, although I have carried it a lot as an everyday carry. It's more something that I wear when I go to church, or if I'm going out for the evening and stuff like that and want to be a little more stylish. This is the kind of knife that I would take. But that said, I have used it a lot as an everyday carry knife as well. So yeah, it's just up to you how you want to use it and how you want to abuse it. So let you decide that. But it would work as an everyday carry knife, for sure. I'm just a little fussier about the knives that I use as an everyday carry. So that's just me. But this is the Civivi Vision FG. So that's it for this review. And I'll leave a description, or I will leave a link to this in the description. These are about $155, $160 in Canada. For the Damascus blades, they're a little cheaper with just the regular Nitro V steel, I believe it is, that they have on them. So you can get them a little bit cheaper, but I went for the Damascus. So, but yeah, thank you for joining me on this review. Check out some of my other reviews and unboxings, and leave me a comment. I will get back to you. Hit the like, hit subscribe. We'll do this all over again with another knife, but until then, you stay safe and stay sharp.